Here we are, New England MMA and beyond, here at the Aura Nightclub in Portland, Maine, for your NEF 46 pre-show. Well, I want to say before we get started that we are on the mercy of Wi-Fi in this building. We are recording this, so if anything breaks up and it sounds like shit, we will send it to YouTube on the end of this video, and you'll be able to see it there. We'll share it again, but we just wanted to go live from the second floor of the Aura.
What's up, brother?
What's up, my man?
What's going
Lars
on?
Borson, the man behind NewEnglandMMA.org,
Yeah.
as my co-host tonight here live, man. So, man, how'd you feel? How was the drive here?
It wasn't bad. It was about 25 minutes. Came from my son's basketball game, drove right up here, got here early, and ready to do it. This is like one of the few shows that I can actually, drive to that's not a couple hours away. So I'm always pumped to come to Portland and see a show.
Excellent. Well, like I said, the Wi-Fi is lagging a little bit, but the sound sounds great, the quality. You guys will get the gist. We're here to talk about the card, not every fight on the card, but the main card, and then maybe a couple of amateur fights to watch out for on, the prelims. But last man, it was a 2.5 hour ride for me. Thank God it was on a Saturday, because when I came here last time, I think it was on a Friday, and I hit traffic, an hour and 15 minutes of traffic through Boston, New Hampshire. It seemed like an accident happened in front of me every 3 minutes. I think you guys knew my whole ride here, and I was bitching at you guys. Well, you at least, because I was meeting you here. But here we are again, Lars. We were here for NEF 45, and we did play the highlight video that you put together from the last show. We're going to be doing some of that tonight, too. Lars will be taking some clips, doing some, winners and losers, and trying to keep everyone out there updated on our New England MMA new YouTube channel and on our Facebook channel and Instagram. Go there, follow us there at 7 o'clock when the event starts.
And you'll be doing fighter interviews.
I'll be doing some fighter interviews in the back. It's a lot because I don't get to enjoy the show when I'm back there 24/7. So I'm going to interview sporadically fighters here, maybe get a couple that are on the floor after the fight. I'm going to be carrying around my recording device there also. So I'm going to hit a few tonight. So we'll get it after their views after.
And it should be a long night. We got 15 fights on the card, tipping off at 7 o'clock. Maybe we'll get out of here by 12, 1 a.m. But it's crazy. We were, I was down at Cage Titans on Saturday, and they only had 10 fights. Started at 7 o'clock, and we didn't end until 12:30. So who knows? I mean, this could be a short night, could be a long night, but we love being here, and this is why we do this shit.
I'm in for an in-between night here. I plan on drinking a couple of beers over the course of the night and enjoying myself. And I want to do a special shout-out to Mike Shorey, who is watching right now. He will be making his way here when the doors open, and we just a special shout-out to him. Check him out on Facebook. A lot of stuff going on with that gentleman's life, but we teamed up with NEF and the Shorey family, and we got him and his son here tonight to enjoy NEF 46. So a special night for him and his son, and I hope they enjoy themselves. We'll be getting a word with them on the floor and seeing them have, a night of their time of their lives tonight.
Mike Shorey is one of those guys who's a diehard MMA fan from Maine. He's been to all these shows locally. Passion for the sport like you can't even explain. And he came down with some medical issues that are pretty tough to deal with. And he's came at this with a positive mindset. And we said, you know what, Mike, let's get you down here to Portland. He lives about 2 hours north of here. We picked up his hotel room. NEF, Matt Peterson, Nick DeSalvo, gave him and his son some seats. Got a little gift basket for him, so hopefully they enjoy the show and they can take their mind off the medical bullshit he's dealing with right now. So happy to have him around.
Memories for a lifetime for his son and the family of Shorey. So, like I said, check his Facebook out there. He's got a GoFundMe, contribute whatever you can. So with that said, Lars, a lot of fights tonight. And like we said, we can only focus on a few. What fight do you want to focus on first right now?
Let's work from, I got 6 or 7 fights I think kind of stick out to me, and we'll kind of work away from the bottom to the top, finishing with the main event. The first Amy fight that really sticks out to me is a middleweight matchup between Jeff Reynolds and David McCarty. Jeff Reynolds is 2-2. I think we have him ranked 4th or 5th in our rankings in the middleweight division. David McCarty was ranked 3rd in the light heavyweight division. McCarty trains out of Titan Athletics in Bangor, Maine. Jeff Reynolds trains at a KTA in Nashua under Joey Gomez and Walter Smith-Catito. Both these guys are high-level amateur fighters, and there's not too many of them in New England that walk around at fight at 185 pounds. So I think that should be a really good matchup. David McCarty is only 1-0, but his one performance here at NEF 45 was impressive. Basically got a takedown, a slam, and worked to a submission within 30, 45 seconds of the fight.
That way. Yeah, I want you in the middle there. So
Yeah.
I got the card there because we're lagging a little bit. Might as well have the fight card up there. Right?
And Jeff Reynolds, who's 2-2 as an amateur, but when you look into his two losses, he lost to Jidiofor Ajoku, who's currently the third-ranked amateur middleweight. And he also lost to Spencer Payne, who's currently the number 1 ranked amateur middleweight. So he's only fought the toughest of the tough. The guy's built like a brick shit house. David McCarty's built like a fucking fire hydrant. And this should be a really good scrap. If Reynolds can keep it standing and use his length, he's got definitely a huge height advantage on McCarty. But if he can keep it standing, he should have his way. But if McCarty gets a hold of him, and this is a small cage, as you might be able to see behind us, a very small cage here at NEF, which helps the guys who want to close the distance and get the fight to the mat, which is exactly what David McCarty wants to do. But I love that fight on the undercard, Jeff Reynolds versus David McCarty.
Excellent. As Reynolds is from Walter Catito and Joey's camp there. They're in the house tonight.
I just bumped into Joey outside. He's fired up. He was with Amanda Ferreira, one of his fighters. They got 2 fighters on the card tonight. Mike Joliker and I can't remember the second one. But they're building the camp down there. They just got a new space in Nashua, and they're doing some really cool things. So keep an eye out for the guys from KTA.
Fighters are walking by us. We are here before the doors had opened, but fighters and, fighters not even fighting tonight, but friends of NEF themselves and trainer partners, cornermen and ladies are walking around the building right now. So people might pass by. You might get somebody that comes in the middle and sneaks in, right in here. But with that said, great breakdown of that fight, Lars. Something else you want to go through? I'm just here as a fluffer, but
You do your best work when you're fluffing.
I am here to edit and try to keep the stream alive here, man. Dude, it's not easy, as we always mention. New England MMA, me, you, Travis, and Brandon on board now.
Yep.
We do the work of like 17 people trying to get all shit going. So
it's a
tonight
lot of
is no
work.
different.
It's a lot of work, but it's a labor of love. We love doing this shit, and we were at Cage Titans last week, and we're at NEF tonight. Hopefully we have somebody at Donnybrook next weekend. Then we have CES March 4th. Then we have who's after that? Then we have March 17th. We got Combat Zone at Encore. Then we got April 2nd. April 1st we have CES. April 2nd we have Cage Titans. We got a shitload of shows coming up, and my wife. 2 kids probably aren't too happy, but she knows I love doing this shit. She allows me to take the time to do it.
Excellent.
We got a great night tonight. We have 2 belts on the line, 2 amateur belts on the line. We got 5 professional fights. We got 15 fights in total. We just talked about Jeff Reynolds, David McCarty. The first belt that will be on the line, moving up the card, is Tyler Smythe versus Ryan Burgess, 125-pound flyweight championship amateur bout. Tyler Smythe just grabbed this belt back in November here. He beat a previously undefeated Caleb Austin, 4th round TKO. Looked impressive. Tyler Smythe is 3-1, trains out of Evolution Athletics under Nate Libby. He's got 3 other comrades fighting on this card as well. The kid has looked really. He looked like a beast so far. We haven't seen much of his striking, but his ground game and his grappling and his will is something that's impressive. He's taking on Ryan Burgess. Ryan Burgess hasn't fought in 4 years. He actually won the flyweight amateur belt for NEF back in 2015. If you can do the math, that was over 5 years ago, 6 years ago. So Ryan Burgess was a former belt holder. Tyler Smythe is now the belt holder. Burgess 3-2, Smythe 3-1. Both these guys are wrestlers at heart. It should be a grinding affair. We know that Smythe is training with a high-level camp here in Maine. Burgess, I'm not really sure where he's training right now, so there's a lot of questions around that. But I think it's going to be a grinding 5-round Fair.
a lot of verbal warfare to start off the this fight camp between these two gentlemen. NEF did a great job hyping this fight up, as they should. Two real, like you said, we haven't seen Ryan in some time, but we know what Tyler has to offer there, and his grit, it's nonstop pressure, and his wrestling is always something that he falls back to, and that's like autopilot in there. If things aren't going your way, man, I could just grind you out and make you kind of submit to my pressure. So looking forward to that, and looking forward to how they react after the fight as well. Things kind of work themselves out after a grueling match that we're hoping that we're going to have tonight. So
now, there's a lot of shit talking that goes on before these fights happen. But typically, this is a sport where there's a lot of respect that's shown after the bout. And I suspect that will happen in this bout as well.
like we said, doors open at 6 p.m. here tonight. Fights start at 7. It will be streamed. The stream is available at NEF's website. You can
Combat
go on
Sports Now.
Yeah, go on their Facebook, and I'm sure there's a link or two there that guide you right there. Go on our website, newenglandmma.org. All our information's right there. You can go there, get the link from there. Look up our write-ups on this card tonight. Travis Lazat did an extraordinary job on breaking down the highlight, the important and really factor fights here tonight. And we're missing him tonight, but he's outside with a cardboard sign right now, rallying the troops.
Travis, so we're at Aura Nightclub, which is a Ticketmaster location, which means Ticketmaster means you need to have a vaccination to get in the building or a negative COVID test within 72 hours. Travis has his own principles, and I respect that completely, and I honor those. And he's outside picketing. He's at anti-vax rally. So, hey.
Not really, but he should.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
So we got a few more fights to cover, and then we're gonna. We got 15 minutes before the doors open. We want to end in about 8 to 10 minutes.
Yep.
Pack up, get ready for what we're got going tonight, and be on our way and give you people like the best coverage we can of tonight. So let's highlight 2 or 3 more fights. And get the hell out of here.
So I think few more fights. So we got Mike Murray versus Zach Falkner for the 170 welterweight amateur belt. Mike Murray is 3-2. Zach Falkner 4-1. Murray is making his way up to the welterweight division. He was, I think he's fought at 45. He was fighting at 55 for quite a while. Now he's up at 170. So he's moving up in weight, taking on a very tough Zach Falkner out of Recon MMA. A couple other fights I think really we should touch upon is the pro debut of MoKanani, another Evolution Athletics fighter. MoKanani was our number one ranked lightweight in the region as an amateur, 9-1. In my opinion, one of the most impressive amateurs I've seen fight in the local scene in the 12 years that I've been doing this. His hands, his quickness, his boxing is on point. He's fighting a very tough fighter in Dayrooney out of Vermont. Dayrooney's 0-1 as a pro, but he was 12-7 as an amateur. He's been around the game. He's been fighting since 2011. MoKanani has a lot of hype behind him, but this is not an easy fight for him, especially in a smaller cage. Mo wants to use his height, he wants to use his length, he wants to keep the distance, and he wants to use his quick hands and his boxing skills and his footwork. Dayrooney wants to close the distance, get him against the cage, and hopefully get him to the mat. So MoKanani is somebody to keep your eye on. We should see him within the UFC in the next 3 to 4 years, in my opinion, if he keeps the trajectory that he's on. But today is his first pro debut after collecting many belts at the amateur level. So MoKanani is the fighter I have circled on the card tonight.
Excellent. And if you check out NEF's weigh-in photos from yesterday, the footage, and all over these kids' Instagram, their Facebook stories, showing all their weigh-in photos, their weigh-in videos. They all promote themselves out there. So there's not a limited amount of footage from yesterday's weigh-ins and pictures. So go check out the pictures, because the size difference and just the body differences of some of these fighters that are going to be going into there tonight is amazing. Like you said, MoKanani, a tall, athletic, lanky-looking, guy, and his opponent Dayrooney is just more stocky, muscle guy.
Yeah.
And like you said, that he's a grind guy, wants to implement his will on you. Mo's more that guy who'll pick you apart and just a sharpshooter in there. So I just love the pictures and getting a look at these kids at weigh-ins, because, I mean, all the work of the weeks leading up to this fight, it shows in some of these weigh-in pictures there that NEF put out yesterday.
You know, in MoKanani, he knows his style. He knows how he wants to fight. It's use that long jab and use his quick hands, and he's got power too. He will pick you apart on the feet. Chris Rooney is a grinder. You know, when I saw this fight match, I said, you know, who's going to step up against MoKanani in his pro debut? Chris Rooney doesn't give a fuck. He's got 19 amateur fights, 1 pro fight. This isn't a guy who's going to back down. He's coming from the Green Mountain State, coming over here to the Pine Tree State, and MoKanani's going to be fighting in front of his home crowd with 3 of his boys on the card, and they should be bringing the house down. But if Chris Rooney can get his hands on MoKanani and get him to the mat, who knows what could happen. But each round, the fight starts on the feet. Mo can avoid the takedowns from Chris Rooney, stay on his feet, use the distance, circle, because in a small cage, you got to keep your distance, and it's difficult to do that. So the cage doesn't help MoKanani's game, but MoKanani's a high IQ fighter who's got a lot of talent, so keep an eye out for him.
Yeah, and I can't wait for the outcome to that. And like you said, this could propel, you know, Mo's got that, you know, that support behind him as that prospect. Rooney can come in here and he can take that fire away from him, and that's the excitement of some of these fights and matchups here. There's a lot on the line for both of these fighters. Some fighters are making their pro debut. You know, it's important fights, but it's not a nail in the coffin if you lose tonight. It's experience. You want that win as your first official fight that's going to stick with you for the rest of your career. But it's not a nail in the coffin. Like I said, it's a learning experience. We have Nate Grimard and Anthony Basta tonight that's going to put on a show. Another 2 guys talking about frames and fighting styles. 2 different styles coming into band tonight.
Yeah. Nate Grimard at Nostos MMA, trains under Devin Powell. He had a very good amateur career, went 4-1, and then he turned pro. He lost to Billy Wilson here back in November at NEF 45. That was for the belt. Grimard has made the decision to go pro. He's only 23 years old, a kid from Exeter, New Hampshire. He's shown us that he's a really good wrestler. He's got heavy top game. He's a grinder, and you know, he will take you into deep waters. We haven't seen much in the way of his striking yet, whereas Anthony Basta hasn't fought in 3 or so years from Defensive Edge MMA down in Wakefield, Mass.
Actually, yeah, Basta has fought. He fought in New York.
Oh, you fought down in Florida, right?
Yeah.
Combat Quest.
Yeah. Sorry, New York, Florida, yes.
Basta was...
But he doesn't have as much experience. His fight before that was for Combat Night at Cage Titans, Muay Thai fight.
Back in 2018.
Yeah, a long time ago.
He did fight in Florida back in February this year and lost a tough grinding decision, but it was good experience. But again, that will be Anthony Basta. He's 6'2", fighting at 145. So he's obviously got some reach on Grimard. Grimard, he's got one game plan and one game plan only. It's don't enter the pocket too early, close the distance, shoot for a single leg, maybe a double leg, get the fight to the mat, and work his top game. And if he can do that, I see an easy victory.
Excellent. Very exciting fight to watch. Like we said earlier in the show, NEF does have a stream available tonight for purchase. Give the fighters their share, give them credit when you do buy. It's going to be an exciting card. And like we said, some of these fighters are potentially going on to the next level in the near, you know, in maybe by the end of the year or the next couple of years, 2 or 3 years, like you said. A couple more fights we'll highlight and we'll shut it down and we'll get the hell out of here. Again, we apologize if the stream is breaking up. I do think the audio is perfect, but we are on Wi-Fi here and we are recording it, so we'll send it on YouTube. It doesn't matter what we look like; it's the content and you know, the exposure for the fighters and the card itself. So, card I like a fight I like to say is the late notice right now of Aaron there, Aaron Lacy, man, coming in here after 4 years off, short notice. Even though I do believe he was in fight shape, preparing for a potential matchup at the end of this month. So, and it is at a catch weight now, I do believe, because he's coming in later. So, talk about this and Jerome Mikkel. We did talk about it on our podcast on Wednesday, but things changed. They looked great in weigh-ins yesterday, and let's talk about this matchup.
So this will be a 155-pound contest at lightweight. Aaron Lacy typically fights at 145. He took this fight on 2 or 3 weeks' notice after Mikkel's opponent had to drop out. Caleb Hall came out of an injury, had to back out. Aaron Lacy stepped up. I know Lacy's been looking to get back in the cage. Hasn't fought for 3.5 years now. He uprooted his whole life. Originally from Bangor, Maine, used to train at Young's MMA. He made the decision about 6 months ago to move down to Somersworth, New Hampshire, and train under Devin Powell at Nostos MMA. He actually lives above the gym in an apartment. His family is still back in Maine, and he kind of makes the commute on the weekends. So this is a guy who you can tell is sacrificing to try to get to the next level. Lacy's 6-2, Mikkel's 4-11. On paper, it doesn't look like a good matchup, but I saw Mikkel fight at Combat Zone against Nick Fiore, and he put up a really tough fight that first half of the first round. And when you look at his pictures from yesterday at weigh-ins, the kid's in shape. So if Lacy takes him lightly, don't be surprised if there's an upset here. If Lacy's smart, he doesn't want to stand and trade in distance with Mikkel. He wants to try to get him against the cage, do some clinch fighting, and then hopefully get the fight to the ground and work a submission game. If I was Aaron Lacy's coach, but I'm not, I would say do not get in a brawl with this guy. It's the last thing you want because he can clip you. And he's a big, strong guy from Bronx, and you never know what can happen. So Lacy needs to use his fight IQ in this fight to get the fight in a close distance, get the fight to the mat, secure a submission, and get out of here with a W because he's booked the fight again in 3 or 4 weeks. So we'll see where it goes from there, but it should be an entertaining fight. But if Mikkel can keep the distance and have his range, you never know what can happen. It's MMA.
Well, that's when that small cage comes into factor. It's definitely in Aaron's favor there, that small cage, and then closing that distance and getting that clinch, taking him down, and just getting that win under his belt after 4 years and moving on in 2022. One more fight. Let's talk about Glory Watson.
Glory Watson, yeah.
Back here at NEF, big face of NEF, coming back as a pro into fight in front of her home crowd again.
Yeah, she's 1-1 as a pro. She, Glory Watson has made her name and staked her legacy under the NEF banner ever since she was an amateur. Had an illustrious amateur career. I think she was 6-1. She turned pro earlier this year, or earlier 2021. Her first fight she took was down in Florida against a very tough grappler. She lost. And then she had an NEF bout, a kickboxing bout against Hillary Rose when NEF made the return in New Hampshire. She lost that via decision, but it was a very highly contested bout. And then most recently, Glory Watson, she got her first W here. She went down to New York for Flex Fight Series and beat Rebecca Bregman and improved her record to 1-1. So Glory's going to have a big career, trains at Young's MMA, has since the beginning of her career. There's a lot of hype around her, but she's taken on somebody we don't know much about, and Ali Beth Milleron. Yeah, Milleron. Ali Beth Milleron from Michigan. So when you look at Ali Beth, I haven't watched much tape on her, but I've seen her record. I've watched a little bit of tape. She's 2-0 as a pro. She's a knockout artist. She's thick. She is ready to throw down. Glory will definitely have the height advantage, but Ali Beth will definitely have probably the strength advantage when they start to get in a clinch type of situation. And I'm assuming she has heavy hands, where she has 4 of her 6 wins as an amateur came via TKO, and her 2 professional wins have come via TKO as well. So she's going to look to throw, and Glory's never one to back down when it comes to throwing. So this could be a slugfest, but if Glory was smart, I think she wants to put, like similar to Aaron Lacy, she wants to close the distance, use her ground game, submission game. But Ali Beth seems to be pretty stocky and tough to get to the mat, so it might be easier said than done. I think this is a fight you can circle as possible fight of the night. It will be a grinding affair. There may be some blood involved, so definitely tune in, right?
Excellent. Well, with that said, great job.
Yeah, brother.
Makeshift setup here. Winged it, as usual. Like we said, the stream not the best from the Wi-Fi in here and the connection, but we recorded it on YouTube. I'll send it out on there. And, man, enjoy the fights tonight. Like we said, NewEnglandMMA.org. We'll be, sending results, clips, highlights, interviews. If not tonight, we'll be definitely sending out interviews tomorrow, but we'll definitely have you all you need to know tonight tuning in here. So if you don't catch us, catch Nef's live stream and check out the prospects in New England here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, check out the pay-per-view on Combat Sports Now. Follow along on NewEnglandMMA.org for our live play-by-play. I'll be posting stuff, clips on Instagram and Facebook. We got you covered from all angles.
And with that said, we out of here. We have to break down because a stampede of people who want beers and fights today.
They want our
are on
autograph.
their way in.
Like, they want our
So
autograph.
don't go anywhere. We are out. Thank you for tuning in, people. We'll see you after the show.